So you might not have the chance to have your own bees,
No.
but you are welcome to help us keep our bees here. I would like to start with maybe you think about like I always want to start with the circle of life. You know, what's the bees' role in the world? So these are sort of like the common bees that you can see in North America. You have bumblebees, you know, different kinds of bumblebees, by the way. Carpenter, well, bumblebees they don't have they don't build a beehive like these honeybees, but they live inside underground or in a tree hollow, something like that. And then you have carpenter bees, you know, also in sort of like in the small tree and trees. Mason bee is kind of more popular these days. You can actually buy a mason bee kit from the gardening store. Gardening store, and they will you can buy the bees larvae, and then you can grow them, rear them in your garden to help pollinate. And then some other mining bees, I don't know, but they use the soil. Okay?
Isn't the bees without the yellow or black stripes?
I will tell you a little bit later. So these are what you call pollinator. They pollinate your trees, your flowers, and your watermelon, things like that. But you will notice there's no honeybee in this picture.
Yeah.
Because honeybees are not local, right? They are introduced species. They are mostly called Western, or Italian honeybees. They are not local beings. They are introduced species. Now, this is your question.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's your honeybee, there's your bumblebee, and then this guy. These are ones that you always get confused about. Okay.
Yeah. We
So-
thought a wasp came and made a
Yeah.
bee hive in our.
No, those are wasps. Now the big difference, bees are not pollinators. They are actually carnivorous. They eat other insects, or they eat your hot dog or your burgers. They come and eat those stuff. It's meat eater. They are different from your honeybees or the bumblebees. Okay, and just a little bit of statistics, like. They say 1/3 of the world's food is depending on pollination. Right? You need something to pollinate the fruit. And the bees that we have pollinate 70 types of crops. So if you go to, Chilliwack or some more farm area, you will see actually trucks of beehives. People put on their flatbeds and then they move around, like especially in the orchard, like Okanagan, they actually move the bees at night, and then when the bee wakes up in the morning, they can pollinate the orchard, right? That's what they do, and they use bees to effectively, because you have such a big orchard, you need bees to pollinate the apples, the apricot, things like that. You may not know, but that's what they are doing, and then. They make 6,000 tons of honey, and then this is in town, but 400 million in the economy. And that a colony, okay, would have the area of 4,000 square meter range, okay? They could make 14 kilograms. You were saying that your nephew have a beehive and they have what, 70 kilograms?
Yeah, I harvest over 70 pounds.
Yeah, 70 pounds of honey.
Wow.
But that's too much. You should at least, if your beehive have 70 pounds of honey, you should not take everything. Especially for the winter here, they need the honey to survive the winter. So when I took my honey, I only took 2 frames of honey, and then I left the rest of the frame, like 8 frames, to them for them to survive the winter. And how do they survive the winter? Maybe this is too much information. They don't have a heater inside the beehive. How do they get heat?
The
Huddle.
honey.
Huddle together? It's close. They actually vibrate their wings to create heat, and they huddle together like a ball. So they will use the honey for energy, and then that's how they survive the winter. And then 50,000 bees in the colony. I have 3 colonies in the back. One of them was actually a volunteer colony. They came to me by themselves. Like they call it a swarm. So they would come over everywhere because that's the normal way of them to reproduce, right? How do you get more honey? Beehives is they would split the hive and then they create a new colony somewhere else. Okay, so I'll take questions later, but let me just go through these. So the bees, some like the queen, will lay an egg become a larvae, pupae, and then become an adult bee. Okay, that's sort of the way it was. They grow, and then we talk about the queen. You probably cannot tell. Like you open up a beehive, you probably cannot tell. But most of the bees that you see is actually worker bees, and the worker bees are male or female.
Male.
Male, both.
Male and female.
Bisexual.
Good guess, but I don't know. It opposite to the humans. The workers are female.
Workers are female.
Yeah,
Female.
the male doesn't do anything other than mating.
Really? So
Yeah.
there's a more percentage are female.
Tons
than
and tons of worker
I
bees, yes.
see.
Can they be the queen later?
Pardon me?
They'll
Can
become.
they be the queen?
That's a good question. No, like you thought the worker bees they revolt and then they become the new queen. No, they actually are bred differently. Like they look at the size of the body and
yes,
they're different,
yes.
so they cannot grow to be a queen. But that's a good wish. Or can the male bee becomes a king and rule over the hive? Yeah.
But how do the queen bee
Yeah,
multiply?
develop. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so I don't know if you saw my video. I sent you guys a video that I was harvesting the honey.
Oh my
No,
God,
did you
scary.
see my video? Oh, somebody saw the video,
I saw it.
but somebody could not because they clicked on the link. They didn't see
wouldn't
it.
can open.
I don't know, but
Was it the one with all the music? Or did you talk?
yeah, no,
No,
music.
just that
Yeah,
one,
this
music.
one. Yeah. So if you open like there's no bees in this hive, but if you open up a live beehive, you'll see something like this.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
They actually are very smart. So this is where they saw that the white stuff is the cap honey. They will have this like these cells. I don't know if you can see it. Some of them actually just open cell with honey inside, but not evaporated enough. So they will wait until it was evaporated, concentrated enough, then they will cap the honey for storage. So that's where they go for in the winter. And then on these things, these are capped also, but these are capped cells with eggs. So with larvae actually. Yeah, these are eggs. I can show you the next picture. See, I don't know if you can see. There's a little worm inside. When they are a worm, they don't cap it. But as soon as they mature, they will cap it, and they become a pupae inside. Okay. Now I show you the video I showed you yesterday.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, that's one of the frame of honey. But these are all capped through, so you have the larvae, the pupae inside.
This is very thick, kind of. Very
Yeah, because that's a very good observation. They should not be that thick because the gap between the frames,
yeah.
I have left it too much gaps inside. Okay, so if you can see this gap, I left some of them too wide, so they build it out more.
Oh, I see.
And it's a little cheating because if you want more honey, you keep more space and they will build it up more, and then the honey will be this thick.
Isn't it better?
It should be better. I don't know if you can see it, but this is one of the frames,
Yes.
and the honey is so thick. So yeah, I'll tell you more about that later. And then okay, so now is the more interesting thing. Now you guys can just
Yes.
think about how long can one bee lives? How many days? How many months?
I'm not even gonna guess.
How many people know the lifespan of a fly? Have you heard? Yeah.
I try to kill them so short.
A good fly is a dead fly. Yeah. So they lived about 5 months. The worker bees. The queen bees live longer, obviously, but I'll go into that as well. Okay, that's good. What about where does the honey come from? Like, what do you think? Like, lots of people ask me the first day when I told them I have a beehive, they said, "Oh, is the honey bee poo?"
It's actually bee vomit.
Good job. Yes,
Yeah.
They
yes.
suck it
So
and
the worker bees will go out to the field, suck on the honey
yeah.
or the nectar,
Yeah.
and then they
Bring
actually
them
come back to the hive and they pass over to different bees.
Oh, wow.
Like they actually, it's a long process, many times.
Wow.
Because they add more digestive enzyme to the nectar, and then they sort of make it more useful, and then they would deposit it in the cell, and then they will fan on the cell to evaporate the excess water. So the goal is to achieve only 20% water in the honey.
Wow.
So it's very concentrated. So
Yes,
honey
they are.
is actually would not go bad. Same as the apple cider vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
They would not go bad. They're so concentrated.
Right.
And there was like I'm sure you heard about like when somebody opened up an Egyptian tomb and they find honey inside. With jar of honey, and it's still good honey. Like I don't know if you would taste it, but it's there. Okay? And then the question is like, okay, obviously now the king of the beehive is actually the queen.
Queen.
It's a female. The male doesn't do anything, okay? Except then mating. And then the last question. Have you guys been stung by bees?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They sting you
Honey
and they
bee?
die.
Honeybees, yeah.
Okay, how do you feel?
Was quite painful
Yes.
Okay.
because when I was a kid and then I was quite naughty, and when I saw that the bee pollinating the flower
Yeah.
and do some heavy melon when I was in Hong Kong. And then I tried to close the
flower.
petal.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I tried to trap the bee inside, and then it tried to get out and just stung me on the finger. And then actually the needle came off.
Yes.
And then it got onto my
Stay on your hand.
Yeah, stay on my finger.
Yeah.
And then it hurt so much. And then I was wearing shorts. And then I just
it off.
rub on the leg.
Yeah.
And then the needle got onto my leg. So I got stung twice. And then I really learned my lesson.
How long did you have the swollen?
Just only one day.
One day. Okay. All right.
good.
Good.
Like
Well,
to kill
still-
some people, because they are allergic to it.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
you can.
yes.
But after they sting you, the bee dies, right?
Yes.
They have
Yeah.
to sacrifice.
Yeah.
To sting you.
But I notice bees likes to hang around the roof, on the roof at times.
Those
So what-
probably
how
are
do you smoke them out?
hornets.
Hornets.
Yes. Yes.
That's why. We
Okay.
spray and they
Okay.
come out.
Bee stings. Any more people have experience with bee stings?
Yeah,
No?
I think
You-
I did. Yeah,
Well, how?
it lasted a while.
How did you get stung?
It was at Costco.
Oh.
Yes, right
What, the
near
flower shop?
outside. No,
No?
on one of the pillars.
Okay.
I was just standing there, minding my own business.
I think you were stung by that hornet.
Do you think
Oh,
so?
was,
It was
yeah.
really like it hurt a lot.
Oh, that it does. Yeah.
Do you think it was hornet?
Yeah, probably. If it's outside Costco. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. Okay, don't worry. So when I ask you about beehives or bees, what kind of products like that you come across that came from the beehive? Like obviously number one's honey,
Honey,
But what
and,
else?
Wax.
wax. Okay. What else?
Propolis.
Propolis. Yes. What's propolis?
I know a capsule that I'm not sure where.
Supplement.
Yes,
Yeah.
supplement.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I
What-
was saying
what else?
probably
What
the
else?
wax. The what do you call it? The honeycomb.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
people eat the
Eat the
honeycomb.
wax, yeah, the
And
honeycomb.
wax,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay. Anything else? There's lots of product come from the beehive.
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics, yeah,
Also
sure. They use the something, the populace actually, for cosmetics.
Oh, yes, I was in New Zealand and
Yeah.
I bought
Royal jelly.
a group of, I mean, the it's all from like New Zealand
Yeah.
bee,
Yeah.
and then they have the one for
Yeah.
for the lips,
Yeah.
for the lip balm
Yeah, yeah.
that makes your lips puffy and
Yeah,
not
all puffy. Oh,
puffy,
nice.
puffy and plump, just like
Yeah,
people
yeah,
do
yeah,
the.
And natural Botox.
Very
Yes.
sexy. Very sexy.
You gotta get some.
Good. And you mentioned royal jelly. That's
Yes.
a good
Yeah.
point. Do you know
Yes.
what royal jelly is?
Yes, that's good. Yeah, a lot of royal jelly capsule.
Yeah, how
I've
do
been
you-
drinking that too.
You know where
Before.
does it come from?
That's from the queen bee, isn't it?
Yeah, similar. I think you get something there. Okay, so let's talk about it. It's actually quite a bit, kind of big things that come. The honey. Okay, so we talk about is less than 20% water. So when you buy honey, I'm more skeptical. Like there's actually like I don't want to badmouth anyone, but if you go on the W5 or any kind of consumer report, you will know that the honey that you buy now, especially the cheap honeys, they are all from China.
Mm.
It's not that bad if it comes from China, but the problem is China. When I was there, okay, you can see rows of beehives on the side of the road, and they're selling honey. But then, if you look around, there's no flowers inside. Right? It was in the fall. How would you be producing so much honey without any flowers? So later on, I find out that in China they actually feed them sugar water inside the hive. So they, I do
see.
that sometimes in the winter, but not all the time. Like there was actually a thing that you can put in. There's a reservoir of sugar water, and then the bees will suck on that, and make make honey from that.
Wow.
So that honey, what's the problem with that honey? The honey will have no pollens, no nutrients. It's just sugar, right? No mineral, no
Nothing.
natural stuff inside, just sugar. So that's one problem. Second problem is China knows that actually the government is actually checking on the honey. They want to know where does the honey came from. Okay, it's important because if you it's actually by law when you sell honey you have to say where is it coming from. You have to tell them the location. But China is very smart. They filter out all the pollens. Like the only way you can test the honey is by the pollens, because the pollen give you a signature of where the flower came from, right? So they know, but China filter it all out. So when you buy honey these days, they are so clear, so clean, and you could not tell where it's coming from. So that's one of the problem. I'm not saying all the honeys are like that, but believe me, honey is not cheap. Okay, I took a whole year. I only have maybe 20 small bottles of honey, and it took me a lot of time to, strain and collect. I actually get my stung by the bees. That look at my hand is
Yes,
full of
that
pollen.
getting-
But it was my stupidity. Like I have my suit on, you saw, but I have my collar sort of left open, and that got me. So I should have taped it up. Like normally I don't need to wear the suit because I'm not robbing them for resources. But when I'm opening up, taking the honey away, they try to defend it, which is their natural response. Like I don't blame them. It's just me, right? So yeah, so that's the honey. Any more questions about honey?
Yeah, the other thing is
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot of the commercial so-called honey are so thin and diluted. I'm wondering whether they dilute it with sugar.
I
Because
don't know.
it's not
That's
pure.
a good question. There is actually cream honey, like the honey that is almost like solid and white, not clear. Like they're almost like crystallized honey, or honey butter. Like there are different forms of honey. The main reason that they crystallize is because of the temperature change and over time. So when you see honey that has crystal inside, it doesn't mean went bad. It's still consumable. So what you do is just to heat it up in warm water, it will be soluble again. So just, I don't know. Like they have different ways of processing honey. That they have different texture,
Yeah.
but they are still good.
Yeah, I buy the raw honey
Yeah.
from Baltimore,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
when the temperature is very high,
Yeah.
they don't even bother shipping
Yeah.
because they say it will spoil their honey.
It will melt, but it won't
Yeah.
spoil. Yeah.
I mean, their texture and their
yeah.
quality.
Okay. Yeah.
So-
Maybe.
So
Yeah.
this honey it will crystallize at some point
Yeah.
slowly, and then you got to dip into warm
Warm water,
water.
or you still use it. Like I would recommend, how you use your honey. You can scoop it out and put it on your bread, whatever muffin, or if you want to drink with water, you put it in warm water. Don't put it in boiling water, because the main thing about honey is because, like you said, it's actually unpasteurized. You should not feed it to any babies under 12 months old. But that way you keep the enzyme inside the honey alive, so it will be beneficial to you. If you cooked it, it's not as the same. It just becomes sugar, right?
Yeah.
But you need the quality, the living
Right.
organism inside.
So
Yeah,
that's why they use that as
the
a
enzyme.
testing.
Yeah.
If you put a teaspoon of honey into a glass of warm water,
Mhm.
and or cold water, it
Yeah.
dissolves, you
Yeah.
know that it's just sugar water.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And
Yes.
I was told that you don't never use hot water
Yeah,
if you lose everything, and
Yeah.
also to use porcelain or plastic
Yes,
spoon,
yes.
not
Metal,
metal
yes,
spoons, right?
yes,
And
yes, yes.
yeah, I see the difference. And when we were in Australia and New Zealand, they banned us from. We didn't know. We bought two, and
Yeah.
to give to friends.
Yeah.
And one we managed to get to in Australia or New Zealand, they banned no honey
Yeah, you
allowed
cannot chow.
because they have their own.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You're not supposed to use metallic for spoon.
Yeah.
No,
No.
Yeah,
No,
it,
just
it takes a while.
natural.
So-
A wooden spoon is the best.
Wooden spoon is the wooden spoon.
Just reaction.
Reaction
Just
with
reaction.
the enzyme.
Yeah.
And for Vietnam one is also different. We know this head director from there. They came to Canada to learn about the pollination, so they
Okay.
can take back to
Okay.
Vietnam.
Okay.
So that's I think that's good. Our bee here could be quite
Yeah.
good, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah. Our bees are not local. They are
No, they're also
Italian.
good.
Yeah. So
The migrants.
we talk about populars. Okay, I have some here. See on top of the frame.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's sort of like sticky stuff.
Yes.
That's the populars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are not wax. Well, they're part made from wax, but they are not 100% wax.
Mm.
So
That honeycomb is plastic.
yes, I can get to that later.
Mm.
So populars is basically a glue that they use to glue. Like say, if I put this beehive and they're using it, they will seal up all the edges,
Wow.
and make it airtight.
Mm.
So other insects could not go in.
Right.
Uh,
You have to see.
Bacteria couldn't go in. The populus is actually antifungal, so it will not have it will have infection properties. That's why you want to pick it. Okay.
And these are also edible, right? You can
Edible,
use
yeah.
it for cooking
And-
or
oh,
for
Yeah, you should
When
smell
is
this.
smell
This is the
the
smell. No, this is the smell of the beehive. It's something.
It
something.
smells like the candle wax you buy the honey
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
the
but this
wax
is
on that.
natural.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Yeah. Yeah. So this is natural. Now this is controversial. I know you try to take populars from the market. Okay, like they sell populars liquid or
Granular.
granule or peels. There's different ways of processing the populars. Like people use alcohol to dissolve it, so you can take it. I don't know anything about that. I just know about the natural way. Like if you want to take populars, just eat it like that. Just scrape it off and eat it. It's actually natural disinfectant. It will help you to boost your immune system. If there's any scientific proof, not certain. Like you can read online, there's lots of articles on this, but nobody knows. But because the way the bees using it, if you have any kind of wound, you would apply this to your wound. It will disinfect, right? So this is what the old days people are using.
What about this Manuka honey? It's very expensive.
Yes,
From New
Manuka
Zealand.
honey. They got it
New
from.
Zealand.
Oh, I
Mine
forgot
from
the
Costco
flower.
from New
Yeah, I know. I
Zealand.
forgot the
Special
flower.
flower.
Special flower.
Very
We
special
mentioned this
flower.
last time. In Canada or in Vancouver, we have the similar honey. It's called fireweed honey, and we have the fireweed plant
I see.
in the field. So our honey has some of that quality, and the fireweed has the same beneficial quality as the Manuka.
I see.
And then the Manuka is supposed to help you with your
Yes.
cold, your sore throat, things like that. Okay, or your cough. Okay, so think about it. You know, I'm not recommending that you take it, but this is one of the options.
Yes.
And then the royal jelly. Okay. How do I explain it? Royal
Is it a
jelly.
common one?
Huh?
More of a common one? Royal jelly?
More common, maybe. Like I think Chinese people have more. Like my mom made me drink this when I was a kid. You know, I don't know, but again, it's very controversial because the royal jelly by itself is good. Why? Because it's also a disinfectant. It also the fact that the queen bee all her life eats royal jelly. So all maybe I'm jumping myself. So all bees on the first let me backtrack. The queen only lay they only lay eggs, right? It's like the chicken eggs, always the same chicken eggs, right? So but all eggs would have been fed first 4 days when they are like this. All the worms would be fed royal jelly for 4 days. But if they want a queen bee, they will feed that cell only royal jelly, and that will bring out a queen bee.
Oh.
So, like, you figure, like, why the food is so important that changes the whole structure of a
Yeah.
bee. That's how you get the queen bee. Like, the queen only lay one kind of egg, right? And just because of the food, the diet, they change it to a queen bee.
But there
So,
may be more than one queen bee then. You would know
good
which one.
question. Yeah. So what happened is the queen bee. Maybe I'll talk about that. Yeah, I'll talk about it now. So queen bee only, like, obviously have a longer life than the regular bees, right? If the regular bee is only 40 days to 50 days, and if the queen bee die in 40 and 50 days, how can they survive, right? So the queen bee has to survive at least 2 seasons, like, so they will carry the beehive over the winter, and then they will start laying again, and then they have worker bees, drone bees come out. So just by feeding them royal jelly, you got long life. So the human thinking, hey, I should eat that.
Yes.
It make me
Yes.
longer life.
Yes.
Make me,
That's right.
special. Maybe I become a queen bee. I don't know, right? But that's the thinking behind. Like, people observe nature and say, hey, that's good stuff. I should
Yeah.
eat that.
Yes.
I don't know you, like, but you think about it. Is it whether you should take
I
it?
would too.
Yeah.
Okay, so royal jelly and how? Oh, I forgot where does the royal jelly came from. I think I don't know. Huh?
I think it's the vomit from the.
Yeah, I think the worker bees would have different kind of production. This I forgot about on that. Yeah, so they make a different, potion to feed the bees, the worms. Okay, and then they become a queen bee. Interesting. Yeah. Any questions so far? Oh, the question is, what form of royal jelly you should take? Right, you have it in bottle again, in capsule, same thing. Like, do you know how they harvest royal jelly? They will actually, actually a human, will go around all these this cell and scoop out the royal jelly and put it in a bottle. The whole day. That's because the labor is so cheap in Southeast Asia. That's how they made the royal jelly. They have somebody go in and scoop out the royal jelly every day.
How do they differentiate between the regular honey and the royal jelly?
Oh, the royal jellies are with the bee, the larvae.
This is white.
Yeah,
the
like the first 4 days, they all fed the royal jelly. So they would skillfully take out the royal jelly but not kill the worm.
Yeah, I just Google. It says royal jelly is bee milk. It's a thick white nutritious substance that's fed to the bee larva secreted from the glands in the heads of the worker bees.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah, so the bee is so resourceful. Like if you look at the bee's body, like you will be amazed how many things
Yeah.
came from the body of the bee. Okay. And the next one is also very interesting. You never heard about this before.
Yes.
Oh, the bee pollen you have. Yes,
Yeah.
you have. So, have you seen the bees? Oh, I should have got a picture. I don't know if you can see it. They have a little sack of pollens on the hind legs. When you see the bees around, like next time you observe in the summer or when they have collect enough pollen, they will have a ball of pollens on their hind legs, and they carry it back to the hive for food. So I'll show you what they make later on. But the interesting thing to find out is how do you collect the bee pollens? Do you go around and just go on the hind legs and bees and pull their pollen?
It's like a brush. You make them squeeze through it.
We actually use, I was going to get one of these. It's actually a screen door that you put on the entrance of the beehive. So when the bee try to go in through this hole, they will
Scrape
squeeze through, but the pollens will be
Scraped
kind of
out,
rubbed off. Some have even a comb, so when the legs went through it, it will comb off the pollens. So you actually collect quite a bit in an hour. You wouldn't want to keep this on all day. You just keep it on for 1 hour each day, so that the bees can have their own food. Like you don't want to rob the bees, right? Like that's also my way of treating my beehive. Is I'm not their master. I'm not using them for commercial purpose. I'm just a person providing the environment for the bee to operate, and they would pollinate my plants, and I'll be charging them rent in the form of honey, and that's it. Like I want to let them do their thing. Like I always say, nature will find a way. Like they will try. Like actually, this is the best sort of animal that I keep on the farm. Like everything else, you have to feed them, like the chicken, right? The fish, the plants, you have to feed them. But the bees, I don't have to do anything.
You just provide them shelter.
Yeah. Okay. Bee pollen again. Like, why do you want to eat bee pollen?
I don't want to eat it. It tastes horrible.
You just no. How do you take it? You just use a scoop. Yeah. Okay. Why do you think you want to take it? Why?
Just for fun.
That's so fun.
Just try it.
Okay. No, so the thinking is bee pollens have lots of pollen obviously, and because you have hay fever or you have seasonal allergy, that would help you with the immune system, that you get used to the pollens and you don't get so allergic to it. That's the thinking. But also it has it doesn't have any, like the bee has not processed it yet. So these are just pure pollen, no enzyme, nothing. So it's basically just a superfood, like sort of like a different kind of protein or carbohydrate for your body, or maybe some trace mineral. I don't know. Okay.
So it's actually flower pollen.
Yeah,
and
flower
not-
pollen
but that
in a
the
ball.
that the bee
Collect.
carries.
Yeah. Now the question people was thinking is like, do they make them into ball? Actually, no. When you buy the bee pollens in a bottle, it's actually as is. Like there's some bigger ones, smaller ones, different colors. That's as is. Nobody process it. Like even sometimes you will have little insect parts in it, but that's okay. That's natural. Like bee pollen is actually good. Okay, bee bread. That one you never heard of.
Bee bread?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tastes good. How big is that?
It's
Must be
actually-
very sweet.
Yes, yes. Bee bread basically is honey mixed with bee pollen. So this is how the bees are using the bee pollens. They mix it up, and then through the miraculous process of fermentation, these are fermented bee pollen and honey. Very good for you. Very
so
good
it
for the
would be
bees.
better than eating honey then.
I
Because
guess
it's
different ways.
fermented, right?
Yeah, different ways of thinking it. I actually, when I process my honey, I included the honeycomb with it, and then one of the honeycomb, like if you, I actually have these available outside. So if you look at it, some of the honey with a honeycomb will have the bee bread inside. Don't think it's impurity. It's actually the bee bread. The bees storing the pollens inside, and you should eat it when you have it. What's the purpose for that is because of the natural fermentation. It's actually have a yeast property. You can actually make honey wine. Like with any sugar, you can ferment them and make them into wine. But you can actually use honey and then use the yeast from the bee bread and make honey.
How much would you need?
You will actually dilute it with water because it by itself it won't ferment. So maybe 1/5 honey to water. I don't have the ratio here, but you can look it up online. 1/5 to 1/4 honey to water, and then you add the bee bread. Or if you want, you can add the commercial yeast that you make wine with, and they will ferment and become honey wine. Interesting. So many things come
Very
from the honey.
How long does it take to ferment?
Oh, just like any kind of yeast fermentation, maybe 3 months. I think to be like it will be finished in about a month, but you want to let it go for another like the whole 3 months
Oh.
before you want to try it.
Did you make that?
Does it taste like ice wine?
Yes. My wine, they are called mead, MEAD. They are actually quite sweet, almost like ice wine. Yeah, but they are strong though. It's like I think maybe 12 to 15%. So be careful.
So it's like sake.
Sake is even higher. Sake is like 19 or something. Yeah. Okay, so the next question. Yeah, how the bee make the wax? I am amazed by the process. The same bee, the worker bees, in their abdomen, they have these secretion, the glands that make the wax, and then they will use the vibration to heat it up so it's like moldable, and then they will mold the cell of the beehive. So amazing. Yeah,
Is
this
that their
is.
poop then?
It's not poop. It's a secretion
Yeah,
from
but
the.
it's secretion.
Oh, secretion like
From their
wax,
pores.
like
From their pores.
swelling or something. That kind of secretion, not excretion.
Do they poop?
Of course,
Yeah, what
That's
comes
it.
out?
of just what they finish
Where
digesting.
does it go in the hive?
Good question. No, the bees would do it outside.
They're very
They're
clean.
very clean. Like
very
they,
clean.
in the beehive is very clean.
Very clean. Yeah.
There might be some debris, like from our standard, but for the bee, they clean out all the garbage. Like on the same note, after the 50 days when the bee die, they will die outside. They will know how to fly outside and die. They don't come die in the hive. And if some die in the hive, like me accidentally squashing them,
I see.
they will move the dead bee outside of the hive as well.
Oh.
Yeah, they're very good system. Like I wish humans would live like that.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, the last interesting point is the bee sting.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our friend here said he has got stung, and this part is a sac with the sting. It actually came loose. Like the bee would die after that, but the sting would stay on my finger, my hand, and they will keep pumping the venom to your skin. So the pain that you feel is the needle, but also the venom pumping. Like you can actually see the sac pumping. So the number one thing for you, if you get sting, remove it right away. Okay, so you use the nail of your finger to watch out for the direction the hook is in. You push it against the direction. The sooner you move it, like this one, I remove like maybe 1 second.
Oh.
But this one, I remove like 5 seconds because I have gloves on my hand. I have to take off my gloves to peel it off. So this one's got more swollen. This is like 2 days ago. Yeah, so it's not bad. Okay. And if you feel pain, use the honey. Dabble the honey on the after you move the sting, you feel no pain.
Wow.
It's amazing. Like the honey, I don't know why, but you feel no pain. If you don't use honey, it will keep like you feel the throbbing pain on the wound, even though the needles was out. And then don't scratch. I know it's itchy, but don't scratch it because you spread your other hand. Hydrocortisone, you know that you can get it Substrama, and then it takes about 10 days. Now, what else have you heard about the bee stings? I know I'm going up on a tangent. There is actually also healing property of the venom by the bee sting. People, like also by observation, beekeeper actually lives longer. Because they've been stung so many times, because they have been drinking honey wine, they are very happy, they have good, honeys, bees with them, they have longer lives. What's inside the venom is actually, obviously is a toxin, but it helps your immune system to respond. Like unless you are anaphylaxis, that you die from the bee sting, if you're not like that, you actually help you to excite your immune system. Every time you get stung, your system will respond, so it teaches you to be more healthy, like more readily to respond. And also, you can look it up online. There are people saying that you actually use the sting as a they call it acupuncture with bee sting. Like they have done it before, like, and they're doing it.
But
People
how
are
would they
doing.
do it?
Well,
You
they
mean
would.
catch
They
a
actually catch like they would have
bee?
resident bees in a bottle, and then they would take the bees out, and then using the points of acupuncture, and they sting them, and then it is to help you.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that sting is from the mouth or from the back?
From
the backside?
Yeah, here.
But when
the
they,
backside.
when the bee counted, they sting from the back so fast.
No, I mean
Oh, they
this
cut-
tilt is
The
Oh my
abdomen can
God,
turn.
yeah.
So if you squash them, they will turn and stab you.
Yes. Oh. Okay.
I know because they stop you from anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's-
so they
it's
use
just
it for
like the
acupuncture. They use it for arthritis. People who swear to that they after they got stung at certain point of the legs, the arthritis is better. Okay,
so it reduces inflammation.
anti-inflammatory and also help your immune system. Like I'm not trying to say I'm a doctor, but I'm just saying what's
Yeah, it
reported
does.
online, and people do it like holistic sort of
Medicine.
So it's
management.
actually not the toxin that help you to elevate the pain. It's your own body immune system.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Get
Well,
activated.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Like
right.
arthritis is inflammation.
Yeah.
So you
So
build
you-
up your immune
Yeah,
system.
your immune system change. You feel better.
So you just stimulate your immune system.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
It's the Chinese saying 以毒攻毒.
Yeah. Use poison against poison.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Any more questions about these things? There's no anti-venom. You just have to live with it for 10 days or so. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Any questions?
And you selling your honey and
Yeah.
wine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honeys are $10 a bottle. The wines are 20. Huh?
All
One
side.
order.
Well, you have to first come first serve. Yeah, so-
Can we pay you next week?
No problem. Yeah. So what else? Any more questions?
Okay, is the bee population is less and less?
Good point. Yes, it is.
It is.
I have 3 hives in the back. I actually bought two. 2 of them is actually from New Zealand because New
They're
Zealand.
very pure.
Very pure. They don't
very
have.
protected.
We have this beetle. It's called Pheronomite. That is almost like a parasite, killing the bees while they are in the cap larvae stage.
Oh.
So it's very bad. Like if you have infestation, your beehive will be gone. There are some treatments that you can do, but not very effective. Once you find out, it's already too late.
Oh.
So the bee population is down, and also because of the pesticides we use, right? So I remember last class I said don't spray your
Yeah.
whatever insecticide in the morning.
Mm.
Spray in the evening because the bees will be coming around. You don't want to kill them.
I see.
But in a commercial, like our neighbor here, they spray their blueberries
Oh.
in the daytime. So he is caring enough that when he comes to these 2 rows, he doesn't spray. He only spray on their side, like far away from our side. But still, like he's spraying in broad daylight. Like, come on, like the bees, everything is there, But what can I say, right?
But in the long run, he will suffer.
I guess he had
Yeah.
more production than us.
He has
Yeah.
more production, but,
But
his,
later on, yeah. Yes.
But then if the spraying there, so
Yeah.
although you are not using it, the bees will come over to yours.
So they will stay on my farm, you mean?
Yeah, I mean if they
Yeah.
spray
Yeah.
spray all the insecticides, so the
Yeah.
bees will might be move over. I don't know, after sucking might move over to your
They
side
die
area.
instantly.
They
Though.
die instantly.
Yeah, they use a smoke
I
vaporizer. Like it's a cloud of smoke.
Mm.
It's
see.
nothing can survive that.
see. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, do they spray when the blueberry is flowering or is
I've seen it spray about every month.
Yeah.
I don't know why they spray. Like they sprayed last time in July.
so it's almost
Also
harvest.
Yeah, I don't know why they spray. I don't know.
It's safe.
Well,
Okay.
as again, like last time, how many days before harvest, right? If you
Yeah.
have 2 weeks before harvest and your insecticide is labeled as 2 weeks before, then it's safe, by their standard. But I would not trust anything because there's always residues, right? So
and it's also by quantity.
yeah, but concentration, yeah.
So basically, the blueberry you purchase from the supermarket is
Oh.
also sprayed.
Yes.
Unless they say organic.
Yeah.
Huh?
There are places that is organic,
Yeah.
then you go and
Yeah.
buy, you pay more.
Well, I have one more caution for you buying,
Any
say,
fruit.
any fruits from out of Canada,
Yeah.
because you cannot, when you travel to Asia or America, you cannot bring any fruits back to Canada or to the States. Why? Because they don't want the insects or whatever disease. So what happened in a commercial scale, like if they're shipping strawberries from Mexico or tomatoes from Mexico or from China, like you get so many ginger from China or the garlics are coming from
Yes,
China.
yes.
How do you stop the insect from coming in, hiding inside the box? Have you ever imagined how they do that? Well, number one is they would spray, like they have fumigation that they do. They would pump a gas inside a whole container and then leave it for like, I don't know, 2 hours and then they would pass the custom. In China, I have seen there is actually a big building that can have the whole container truck go inside and then they shut the door. And then a machine will go through, radiating with gamma ray the whole truck. That's how they kill all the insects or bugs.
So actually, the sting bug was brought in by that commercial
Container, yeah.
container.
Yeah. So they're using radiation. This is what you call eradicated food. I don't know how healthy it is for you because they use radiation. I don't know, but that's what they've been doing from Mexico or from Asia, anything that come in, they either fumigate or radiate. You look it up. I'm not, I look it up and I say, I didn't know. They don't advertise it, but that's what they are doing already.
Also, Ian, is there any difference between that bee sting
Yeah.
and also that
The hornet.
the wasp sting?
Yes, it's different. Yes,
They're different, right?
Different. Yeah.
Because there's no benefit from that wasp
I
sting.
don't know, but the hornet or the wasp can sting you multiple times.
Yeah.
They don't die from that stinging you.
Yeah,
They still have the needle.
but it's more poisonous.
I
it's-
don't know, but it is more swallowing.
Yeah.
Swallowing. Yeah,
Multiple
yeah,
sting
it is.
units,
Yeah, hornets are bad. and you're right. Like if you get there was a statistic, if you get stung by bees 1,500 times, you will not die. The maximum, like say, you can get stung by bees for 1,500 times and you will still not die. But if you get stung by a hornet, I don't know how many times.
You can
so.
die.
So they are more domesticated, I think. So yeah.
So between garlic, there's so many garlic and
Yeah.
ginger coming from Asia, from
Yeah,
China.
China,
So
yeah.
you're saying eating them does not give you much benefit then.
I don't have the proof, but I would not take the ginger or the garlic because I know from China, like I grow food in I went to the farms in China, they use tons and tons of chemicals.
Oh my God, I
Like-
have
And
been
human
Like
tasting
you,
tasting
you,
that.
you,
I have
I go to their field, like fields of corn
Right.
or beans,
Yes.
whatever vegetable. There's no wheat in sight. Like the
Yeah.
the path is so clean, like miles and miles. Like nobody would go and pick out the weeds. They just spray because I told my I was farming in China too, and my neighbor farmer, he said, what are you doing? Like me and my wife was weeding my little pot of, cucumbers. I said, no, let me spray for you. I said, no. and what he does is he spray his corn and then he will sit down and have a smoke. And then wait till next morning. Oh, there's still some weed. I'll buy another one and spray again. I said,
Oh,
oh
I
my
see.
gosh, that's their thinking. They have no scruple about
Yes,
pesticides.
they've been brainwashed.
Yeah, they think, oh,
They're
this is
educated.
good. Like you use this, or use that. That's the way of their thinking. And then the ginger is because it's in the soil, it is worse, right? It collects all the nutrients from the ground, and they're so cheap, and so big, like
Yeah.
it's
I
crazy.
feel that they're tasteless compared to the organic
True.
one. Is so spicy.
So
I mean,
spicy,
spicy,
exactly. I don't want to badmouth anyone,
No,
but
no,
you
no,
make the
yes.
decision. I've seen how they grow in China.
As long as you eat them, won't die. So
You won't die right
I have
away,
been
yeah.
eating them too.
But it says that you don't die, but
Other
the
things.
toxins build
Yeah,
up
builds up,
over
yeah.
time, and then it creates the medical issues that you have experienced
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah. No, what I'm trying to do is detoxify my body.
Right.
We try to help it through and then exercise and fasting things like that. I should talk about fasting one time with
That's
you
a
guys.
good idea. Yes. But I feel that you detoxify, eat everything, but then that means don't go outside to eat. You will
Yeah,
have
true.
everything that you're
True,
saying not
true.
to. It's
Yeah.
out in the restaurant.
Yeah, I know.
You can't avoid
I know,
that.
I know.
So where can we buy ginger and garlic?
Oh,
Well, buy the
Costco has
organic ginger.
Costco organic
Yeah,
one, very
organic ginger.
nice.
Yeah,
One
that's the
bag is
minimum.
cheap.
Just
Or-
so
Grow
label.
yourself.
Grow it yourself.
Grow
So label
yourself.
organic.
Now
ginger.
there's
Yeah,
label
yeah.
organic.
Yeah,
Now
the
they
organic
have
ginger are
line.
smaller.
Garlic,
Yes.
Yeah.
You grow your garlic in
Yeah.
September, you harvest it in
Yeah.
July,
Yeah.
but this year is
Yeah.
August.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to take the
That's
opportunity to do a
Try.
public announcement for our church.
Yes.
This is our church,
Try
Fine Church. It's
Lip
the
Pond.
website and somebody look it up is on
Aberdeen.
Lip Pond Place, just across from Aberdeen on number 3 row.
Yeah.
So you are welcome to join us 9:30, 11:30. English speaking. I think it's very vibrant. Like the reason we have this is because the church want to say, hey, in the summer we should have a group of people doing different things. So we have this idea. Somebody had this good idea about having a passion group. So there's not just gardening. There are other groups doing hiking,
Hiking.
bicycling, dining out, all that stuff,
Yeah.
theater, watching, things like that.
Games.
So you're welcome to join us. And then the last thing that I want to say is, our farm has I don't know how much you understand about our farm. Like we are a non-profit organization. Well, we're not registered, but our group is non-profit. Our goal is to have fellowship, promote friendship, and also support the food bank. So
Do some fundraising.
if you see that we are doing sort of limited scale because we are limited in funds. So if you are interested in helping us, we are trying to build a greenhouse. It's called. You have this on your email anyway. Wallapini. It is sort of like, I think it's South Asian, Australian. I forgot. Yeah, tradition where they build the greenhouse sort of like a sunken. Sunken greenhouse.
Okay.
And the best way is to retain the heat in winter times, and then maybe cool the greenhouse in the summertime. Like this is the best option for us in Canada. We want to start something like this so we can prepare more our seedlings and extend our growing season. If you look at our greenhouse, we already have some kind of barrels full of water and plain dirt black. So in the daytime it will retain the heat from the sun, and then in the evening you will release the heat. You can actually try it. Like the water inside this bucket is actually quite warm.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know if you have a chance to take a look. So this is what we're trying to do, and I started a GoFundMe.com on GoFundMe on Facebook. Or in GoFundMe, yeah. So you can try to help out. It's on your email already. So
what's the cost to build one?
we are thinking about with the labor and time and also the material to finish it up, about $6,000.
That's pretty good.
And we'll work with the budget that we are given. So we don't have 6,000. We'll just have a more flimsy like plastic, whatever. Like just scale back until we have the funds. But we'll start the frame, the structure. And we are also, me, I'm a believer in recycling and reuse. So a lot of the material, the windows will be from Facebook or Kijiji, like used stuff to start the.
So you're building it here?
Yes, built right next to my plastic greenhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my dream.
Yeah, you can come help us.
And you do sell your seedlings then we can come and buy the seedlings from
we
you instead of buying
do.
outside.
We have tons of tomato seedlings, but you guys were sort of late. Like if you came, I come to know you earlier, I can give you tons of tomato seedlings.
No, we'll buy.
And you can help us plant too. Like we didn't have the time to plant. Like David helped us to plant some seedlings, and we are actually harvesting some tomatoes here. And the seedlings that we have are special types. Some most of them are heirlooms, and then some other special shade tomatoes.
Heirlooms are expensive,
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah.
But
But
they're non-hybrid.
yeah, non-hybrid. That's the main reason.
I think I missed the one that you were teaching about what do you call that? Compost.
Compost.
Like how I'm very
Vermicompost.
afraid of worms, but
Yeah.
I want to kind of
Yeah.
try to
Worm
compost.
compost, yes.
How do I start?
I will put all my lectures online. You can look it up. Like if you follow the link and you can subscribe to my channel, you'll see the other
How to compost.
videos. Yeah, and then I'll give you some worms later
That's
on.
why I think the last time, first time I started,
Yeah.
you said good about giving worms. to
Yeah,
s-
nobody have picked up on that
No,
yet.
yeah.
Because
I-
your
I
parents
like
say
to.
no, you cannot have worms in my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
But
okay.
outside, we leave it
You can
outside,
leave
no?
it, yes and no. If you
Huh?
leave it outside,
die.
you have to bring it into the garage in the winter.
Garden?
It's too cold. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's too cold.
in
You
the-
can put
Yeah,
it in your
yeah, in the
bed-
garage.
in your
the worms
your
as in
living room.
they are earthworms, right?
As
They're
a
not
tabletop.
different kinds of
They're not the
worms.
white, the worm. I'm
No,
very scared
they're
of those.
different
What do you call it? You know, what do you call
Maggots.
those worms? Maggot. I
No,
feel
maggots.
like
Maggots.
my
Oh, these are
whole
the
body.
red-
I
red
just like
red-
I
Oh no, I can't.
I just weaken when I see